do that record button just right there, because exactly, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is perfection. This is perfection. This is what perfection looks like. It's not out there, is it? This is it. Just this connection. It's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be just switching the recorder on. And the reason why was because we linked up yesterday and had a conversation. We've only been, what has it been? About 4 days that we've actually known of each other's existence. So 3 days.
Well,
Saturday?
it was Saturday. Yeah.
Sunday,
So yeah, we
Monday,
connected
Tuesday.
Saturday.
3 days. So, and we spoke yesterday, and I wanted to switch the camera on just to share these authentic conversations, because you are amazing. You really are amazing. And I say that because I speak to lots of people I have over the years, and the conversation we had yesterday was just magical. It was just like, oh my gosh. So welcome to our little room of Zoom to have this authentic conversation. So where are you in the world, Sharika?
Hello, beautiful soul sister. I'm in Florida, in the Sunshine State. You know, as you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous here today.
Absolutely beautiful. And so one of the things we were talking about yesterday was that I'd put out a call on Saturday. So I was in we were in a group together that's a similar, but we're both in a group around energy and around ascension and around all the things that, a lot of the things that maybe our close family members or friends don't really necessarily, have never really got us or never really understood. And yesterday we had a conversation that was just like, oh my gosh, this is my sister. So tell me about tell me about your journey, really, just as a summary of your journey to where you are today.
It started, like, you know, as we shared yesterday, it started for me. I had my first awakening in 2012, and after, it's like my whole life fell apart. At that time, I didn't understand what was going on. It was like the end of a long relationship. And shortly, a couple of years after that, my partner that I had worked with for 20 years suddenly passed. And, you know, it was like I just kept going through one death after the other, not understanding that I was going through at that time what I know now to be, you know, my dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
You know, reconnected. You know, my dad passed, and, you know, we didn't speak for 20 years. But ironically, the 20 years that I didn't speak with my dad were, you know, the 20 years that me and my partner that we worked together with was in my life. So it was like after he, you know, transitioned and, you know, passed, then my dad came back into my life. Yeah. And I had a year or so with my dad to reconnect and work on our relationship. And, you know, through that transition, you know, lost, you know, a grandmother to breast cancer, a childhood best friend to breast cancer. So I felt like at that time I couldn't catch a break, but not knowing that, you know, I was basically going through an awakening and an intense dark night of the soul to basically wake up. Yeah. You know, fast forward to 2017, you know, and I have been, you know, on the journey of the journey, personal development, really trying to discover and get to the root of myself, you know, of who am I, you know, what am I here to do? Because, you know, I had basically, you know, worked my way, you know, to what society would consider, you know, successful. I had gone through being, you know, the 6-figure chick and, you know, and working to work what I thought my family out of, a life of struggle, and, you know, just thinking that my whole life had been built around, I was great at working and making money, but I sucked at relationships. And, you know, and I didn't understand that kind of everything was falling apart to come together. Yeah. And, so 2017, you know, I kind of, you know, went through some things and got led, okay, your journey, your assignment here is complete, you know, but the beauty of that 23 years, you know, before coaching, you know, in trucking, and we all know in transportation and trucking and managing people, that's not the easiest thing to do. Yeah. So, you know, in managing people from all over the world, from every culture, I was blessed, and you know, I feel gifted already to be able to connect with all type of people. So that's where, you know, up to that point, you know, my journey it was beautiful because I wasn't boxed into just one culture, one group, one way of thinking. Because, you know, when you're managing people and you're dealing with all types of people, you get to experience that in a society that seeks to divide and make us think that we're all different. You discover when you work with people how much we're really all alike. And we discovered that yesterday. We're connecting across the globe. You being in Ireland and me being in the States.
Not quite Ireland yet, in United Kingdom, but aiming for Ireland. Absolutely. I love the fact that you said that being in that, remembering Ireland, because that is my home. So yeah, absolutely. I'm in the UK, but yeah, the goal is Ireland. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well remembered.
we're all the same.
Yeah, we
We're
are.
all
Mm,
we're trying to figure it out. We're all looking for that sweet spot, and I think
yeah.
the more that people can really grasp that none of us, nobody, there's no hierarchy of souls. We're
No.
all trying to make meaning of the mess, and we're all trying to find our way. We're all trying to dig a little bit deeper, and it's my intention to, to touch a million hearts, to connect with a
Yeah.
million beautiful souls, that
Yeah.
they'll, wake up to realize that, we're not taught this stuff. We don't understand
No.
the language of energy and
No.
truly how powerful we are. That light within,
Absolutely.
it's just waiting to come on. It's been
Yeah.
there, all along. I knew as a kid, though, what's ironic to me now, and connecting the dots is, as a kid, I knew, being born into the family that I was born into, I knew that love was all that was real. And I knew that, as I didn't understand it, but I would look around and, at the dysfunction in my family, and I would say to myself, this isn't right. I know there's more, but I knew that love was all that was real. So I kind of lived in my, my journey, and in my, prior to coaching and consulting in transportation, I kind of used that platform. I probably managed different. I probably was a different type of leader, in that I understood that everybody needed something different.
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably been my greatest asset, is that I understand that people are different, and
Mm,
what one soul may need as nurturing and support, another soul may need something a little bit more.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of the way that I live, is that I try to connect heart to heart, and know that, as a sensitive soul, as an empath, that, once you connect, you understand that behind those layers, it's like an onion. And once you start peeling those layers back,
Yeah.
you can get to the root that we're more alike than we're different. And it's a society of so many people that are secretly sad, even if you're successful. I mean, I would, like I said, for me, for most of my life, I was, was what most of society would consider successful, but I was secretly sad. I was secretly stressed. I
Yeah.
was secretly anxious, and I was secretly depressed,
Yeah.
because I was being everything to everybody, but I hadn't learned yet how to set boundaries. I hadn't learned how to really tap into, the truth of
Amazing.
how to balance all of that,
Yeah.
and so,
Yeah.
here I am.
It's amazing. Honestly, I'm not joking. It's kind of like everything that you're saying is like, yep, 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 yeah. It's incredible. And what's really interesting is the internet is just an amazing tool if we're able to use it right. And I think I've done a lot of work in community, hands-on in community, and the online is really underestimated, just how intense connections can be. So a lot of people think that, oh, it's online, it's not, it's kind of like, it's not real, it's not, you can't feel online. But I've been online for many years, and yeah, for about 19 years, when I was introduced to go online, and ended up talking to lots of people, ended up dating, using the internet as dating, which I didn't want to do, but it just happened like that. And ended up writing a book about the experience, because it was just like, do you know what, people need to know about online dating.
Well,
um,
energy is real. It doesn't matter. Energy is real.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the key for it at the end of the book was exactly that. That what I realized was that all these relationships were about finding an aspect of self, was finding a fragment part of the soul and healing it and letting go of it. That whatever relationship came my way was about, okay, which aspect of myself am I working on here? And so it goes to that place of raising the divine feminine, which for me was what I recognized, was that the divine feminine, the divine masculine, that those aspects of ourselves are within us, and yet, kind of like society have put it out there that it's not something that we spoke about. It's not something that we tend to speak about. It started to come
Mm-mm.
in a little bit more now, but I mean, that was back then. And writing that book, I thought, right, that's it. I'm going to let all this information come out. It's just like, let it go. And then these 18 golden nuggets that I wrote about, it literally was just channeling the information of integrating the divine masculine and feminine in self. So that's something that I've not actually really launched the book properly. But about 18 months ago, I started with that in terms of marketing, to learn, how do I get information out there? How do we connect with souls that are ready to hear our message? And that's always been a challenge, because the internet is not it's a really interesting place, because I think people use it for a specific reason, but they're not necessarily building relationships.
Because we're afraid of that. We're afraid of that vulnerability. You know, I think that, you know, we're not taught, and what's not, you know, it's like you're saying, the internet, we don't realize that everybody has a story. Everybody, you know, we're all born, you know, we all come with a story, and that's what our souls came here to experience, to journey, to evolve and experience that story. But
and the
are afraid
education,
of that.
absolutely. And when you look at the education system, one of the reasons for writing, you can just see it there, sad, stress, anxiety and depression. I mean, one of the reasons for putting that label on my book was because I desperately wanted those deeper conversations. I want people to talk about stress. You've mentioned it in your, as you were talking about your profile, and you mentioned that secretly you're stressed, secretly depressed. And for me, putting this out there is to kind of like say to people, come and share your story, the depth of it, because this is real. And as empaths, we feel this in people. So people can put on the mask and they can make it kind of like look all jazz and everything else, but it's like, actually, is that really, without judging, but certainly offering discernment, it's like it's a different feeling. So tell me about your kind of like, as you was growing up, because obviously you was aware from being young, really, even though you maybe didn't acknowledge it until you had those dark nights of the soul. But being young, you must have felt that you didn't fit in, or that you was different, that you was
Oh yeah, very much so. I felt like, you know, I knew that in my family, I used to jokingly say like, oh my God, you know, God, what happened? Did they switch me at birth? I know I look like I look like my family, but surely because I felt like the oddball in a sense, you know, sort of, you know, I was the go-to person for my family, but essentially at heart, I kind of felt like the black sheep, because I felt like I could feel everything. You know, and that was, I didn't know how to navigate it, and that was a lot of my issues through my journey, was because I didn't have the tools at that time of how to navigate that sensitivity, you know. And I didn't know, I just knew, you know, like I can remember, you know, in school with, you know, going back, you know, coming up in the 70s generation, you know, they would always ask, you know, if there was one thing you could change about yourself, what would it be? And I used to always write, you know, as a kid, I wish I didn't care, because I thought I was cursed, not knowing that it was my gift, because it doesn't matter what people would tell me. I could pick up on what they needed. I could pick up on where they were hurting. I could pick up on their soul. I could see the best in them. And I struggled a lot in the journey, because I can see, you know, where you're hurting, but yet regardless of what you're saying. And so, but you know, that mirror, you know, you see it's all a reflection, and it's a mirror. But I too struggled with that, you know, even though, you know, of course, you know, I smile a lot, I love a lot, you know, I'm always, you know, dropping love bombs, shooting love bombs to people, but I secretly struggled my whole life with feeling like, oh my God, you know, why I don't fit in, because in a world of people that aren't tuned in to the heart and that connection and their own inner, you know, sensitivity, sometimes it can be challenging in a world of you know, desensitized. I guess that's the word. We're so disconnected and so desensitized from the heart, because we're afraid of that, you know. And I too was afraid of that. I ran from love, you know, in my whole life, but yet I knew that was all that was real. Check that out. I knew that love was all that was real, but I was on the run because I was so afraid of that rawness, that pain, that those experiences, you know, the sexual abuse and all those traumas that I endured as a child. You know, it was like, and I thought that becoming successful, that I had escaped them. I thought that, oh, you know, well, now I've arrived, I can take care of myself, you know, I can make a difference, I can, you know, be the go-to girl in my family, my friends. So I thought that I had escaped that until that dark night of the soul knocked on the door. It was like, okay, you're not honoring your sensitivity, you know.
Absolutely.
It's like coming back home to myself.
To self, absolutely. And that word desensitization is something that's Oh, because I think what we're doing, even just having this conversation, is throwing out there energetically that it's okay, to be sensitive, and that our world actually needs the sensitive people. It needs the sensitive people right now, those that are tuning in to what's really going on, and like you said, blasting out with love bombs, because love is the answer. Without a doubt, love is that's all that we are, is love.
That's it. We're love informed.
Absolutely. And it's certainly getting to that place of accepting that, because it's not that easy to accept. Because people think, and because that's the other thing about it actually, is that a lot of people use this term love and light, and we had this conversation yesterday. And I've gone through so many experiences that I'm not even gonna go there. It's like there's so many books. It's like, you know what? People just have to read them. But I do share a lot of my story, but there's so many. Um, but this particular one around love and light was that, again, like you said before, things aren't necessarily just because you think that we've got to a place of being evolved or being aware, being awake, doesn't mean to say that that's it. Life just goes through, far from it. And so I know for myself, I've been invited to do a talk in Ireland and on the stage, and it was my dream come true for like 40 odd years. I was going for it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because I kind of just walked in with my book. It's not there, and I kind of just said I'd love to be able to share my story, on stage. And so I was invited to close the talk, and then it's like, what people can call it whatever they want to call it, but I managed to get the car over to Ireland, and it was 20 minutes, not even 20 minutes into the drive, and the car just brought down the middle of the dual carriageway. So this car's running down either side, and I'm in the middle. The car stopped, and the snow. It was the worst snow that they'd had in like the history of Ireland. And it was 3 days lockdown. The whole island was locked down for 3 days. The days that I was meant to be doing this talk that had been planned for a year. So it's kind of like Storm Emma just kind of like said, "You're not doing it. You're not doing it. Get over it." And so it's like, hold on a minute, but I'm in the middle of the dual carriageway. I don't have a lot of funds. I've actually just been given funds to come here, and by a friend had lent me the money, had given me the money and just said, just go and do what you need to do. The car is in the middle of nowhere. I ended up getting it towed, and it was something like, it probably would have been equivalent to about $500 to get it towed, just towed, not mended, just the car on the back towed to where I needed to get, because the snow was there. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm not meant to do this talk. And what transpired after that experience is just like, okay, let me just shortcut this. I ended up coming back to England, and I thought, right, that is it. I've learned the lesson. That is it. I have to do this work, and I have to reveal the truth. I have to reveal the hidden aspects of ourselves, because it's the hidden aspects of ourselves that need to be seen. Everybody's talking about love and light. They're not talking, the opposite is dark. They're not talking
we all
about that.
Work through it. We all have
got to work through it.
We have both. We all have to
exactly. Exactly.
But I jokingly say, Anthea, I know that Spirit knows that if they had told me that I was gonna have to hit rock bottom and go through all of this, and with giving up and walking away from my career and life as I knew it, I probably would not have done it at that time. So I know I had to go through it that way, because that was probably the only way I would do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Because if I'd have been told you're going to give up your home, you're going to be in a narcissistic relationship that's going to really challenge you, and then you're going to get, you're going to be really ill and all those things, penniless, homeless and dying, that, which is PhD. But for a long time I was kind of like, I want to do a PhD. I would love to hold a PhD with the work that I'm doing, not so much about the academic side of it, but just the intensity of work in the work that I'm doing. And that's what I've ended up having, the PhD, Penniless, Homeless, Dying, which I think is fantastic. That's the next book, The Life After PhD, because I think we strive for everything in terms of outside of ourselves, the education, the amount of people that are doing course after course after course after course for what? you know, because
It's the inside, but it's an inside job. It has the dying though. The dying is dying to the old way, dying to
yeah,
the old
yeah,
you, dying, to,
yeah,
not, I mean, I guess I like to say it's when you integrate though, the old you
yes,
and the new you, that's that balance. That's that, for
yeah,
me, that's
yeah,
my sweet spot, is
yeah,
that, okay, I never had an issue, I worked, I mean, didn't come easy. I worked hard. I spent
yeah.
my whole life working, working, working. And you wake up someday and you realize that this is like I went through a midlife crisis. This is it. I spent my whole life investing in all of this, and
This
I
is
wake
it.
up
Yeah.
and this is it. I
Well
knew there had to
done.
be more.
Yes, and that's
I
where
knew there
a
had to
lot
be
of
more.
people, especially a lot of women, that's the thing. It's like we are juggling, 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 juggling. Like you said, the go-to person. That eventually it's kind of like, whoa, hold on a minute. This is like, no, no, no. Let me just stop and start again, because it's like I don't want to keep on juggling this. And that's when it comes really hard when you're trying to market online, because women are multitaskers. So when in marketing they're saying, because I'm just wanting to reach people, I'm just kind of like, do you know what? I know where you are, I know where you've been, and I've got a structure in place that can help you. Have a look. That's where I'm coming from. That's how I would be on face to face. But online, it's completely different. It's kind of like, hold on a minute, because it's a very structured machine. We're having to kind of like fit in there. So when I was doing this marketing in this marketing company, they're kind of like, no, you have to find your avatar. You've got to find your niche. And I'm kind of like, but I've worked all my life, not worked all my life. I'm an inclusive person. That's who I am. I just love people. So how
Me
can you
too.
tell me to narrow down? How can you tell me to do that? We're multitaskers. And then just 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks ago, actually, it's probably a week ago now, I just thought, right, my avatar is Autumn, and she's 44, and she is, she's an executive, she's a chief executive, and she is juggling life, and she enjoys meditating and walking. And I built this profile, which I'd never been able to do before. I was like, so proud of myself, just thinking, that's incredible. And then when I speak to you yesterday and say, and just ask me, just how old are you? And you're like, oh my gosh, I was thinking, that is incredible. That I know
I'm
it's
44 and I'm an autumn baby.
it's on. I mean, that's how this stuff works. It's kind of like I had to home in. The timing wasn't right 18 months ago. It was like it had to be now. So I'm just so glad that when you said you was 44, I was thinking, thank you, I've done it. Because it's taken me a long time, but I know that this will. It's that thing of when you're trying to teach. We're trying to teach. My role is to teach, and it's something that I've done before. And like you said before, it's about integrating all those experiences and bringing
Mm-hmm.
them into, right, okay, how do I do that? And like you said about transport yesterday, and the work that you did, my job that I did was a charity, and it was about bridging the charity into the new millennium. That was in
Mm.
1999 to 2001. My job was to bring it over the millennium. And it's kind of like, my goodness, that is what I do now. It's like, I kept on saying, if I can do it for charity, I can do it for me. This is for me, to build a bridge of transition. So helping people to reset, because, when you look at our world, and I know that you're going to get this, one of the things that when I was doing my social work training, I remember doing an exercise, and the exercise was that we stood in a line, all the students, and we were given a card, and the card that we had was a 16-year-old. So we were all 16, and we had different demographic issues. So it would be a 16-year-old from a single parent, or 16-year-old from a married couple, or a gay couple, or black, white, Hispanic. So different demographics, different geography, different, working class, middle class, upper class, all the different things. And what we had to do is that there was a list that was being read of, if you can get onto the bus, without needing assistance, then step forward. If you can't, stay where you are. If you can walk down the street and feel safe holding your partner's hands, then, move forward. If you can't, then stay where you are. So I can't remember which card I had, but by the time these series of questions, there's only about 15 questions, it wasn't a lot. They were like, okay, stop and have a look round. And I was so shocked at the difference in the person at the back and the person at the front. I was shocked. And it wasn't that I was naive. Obviously, I was naive actually thinking about it. But I was just shocked. I just thought, hold on a minute, how come there's a big gap? That doesn't make sense, because these questions, these statements were so simple things, just simple things. And so it was the person at the front was the white middle class man, and the person at the back was the black disabled woman. And in that moment, that was in 1990, and in that moment, I just said, whatever I do, those two people have to be equal. They have to be brought together, and they've got to be equal. And that's how I've always operated. I've always operated like that anyway, but certainly 1990 was the seed that was planted of whatever it is that I do, these two people have to get together. They've got to.
Well, I've always been that way too, but like, I'm not, and I think that's the gift though. The gift is having that open mind. I mean, I worked with a lot of beautiful, amazing people from all cultures.
Yeah.
And I think that's the gift that my partner that we worked together 20 years is being a white male and me being a black woman, and we would have these courageous conversations around race and gender and the different things, like, but just seeking to understand a little deeper, and that's the problem. I think that most people, like the heart is the heart, and those connections, there's nothing it goes across all boundaries, and that's the part, with me, with seeking to inspire and empower humanity is let's bridge the gap. I mean, and even you and I connecting as soul sisters, I mean, across the water. You're in the UK, I'm in the States, and yet we had a totally around the heart. I'm not in this alone.
Exactly. And I think that's the thing, because one of the things that again, just that epiphany of kind of like, hold on a minute, we've got a heartbeat. That's what connects us. We have to connect to the rhythm of the heartbeat. That's it, regardless of what the outside of our bodies. This is just a video for what's going on in here. So when I created the storytelling process, and I say I've created the process to own it, but I mean, these were just gifts. These were gifts that were kind of really clear that I'm here to nurture seedlings to reach their full potential. And I was kind of like, okay, how am I meant to do that? How am I meant to empower people to reach their potential? And in doing that, we evolve and we become empowered in that. So it's a real kind of like, okay, so as I'm doing this, I learn to do that. Yes. So so the inclusion is about including you, because that was another name that came to me really strong, including you. And I just thought, wow. And so when I realized, I just thought, wow, we've got tools here that are about resetting the way that we are, because many people can talk about the past, and we know that the foundations of our world has been built on such corruption that it's impossible to go back there and start working on that. It's like, you know what?
Exactly.
I've got time for that. So what we can do is say, okay, how can we reset right now? And for me, that reset is, right, how do I just say, right, I'm committing right now to be able to do this work. This is my commitment. And so when I'm asking people to come and tell their story, I'm asking for, and I know that it's a generational ask.
Oh yeah.
They're like, do you know, come and share your story. Come and be vulnerable. Come and share who you are. Because when people start doing this process, the layers that they take off are not just their layers, the layers from the past.
The layers from the lineage.
Absolutely. And as everybody listens to each other, they're feeling the lineage. They're feeling that. So when people are talking about some of the most horrific, sometimes, experiences that you could imagine, but the first time ever they're given the opportunity to speak their truth, that is so valuable right now. It's just like, oh my gosh, to think that somebody who has kept silent, rape, it's like, hold on a minute, but that might not have happened to me. But you know what? As I'm listening to my sisters, to my brothers, then all my cells are awake to when that did happen in the lineage, when that did happen to my ancestors. So sometimes it's not about the story that I'm telling, it's the story that I'm listening to. And that is just, it bonds the community in a way that I see you.
I see you. That's, I They see you.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And there's nothing wrong with you. I mean, that's the thing, is that, we think that there's something wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with you. It's
Exactly.
okay. You're perfectly
Yeah.
imperfect, just the way that you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So tell me, when you, because one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to capture this moment, because I know what it's like when you start, it's like energetically as well. We can start with something, and then before you know it, it's like a week's gone, and you just think, gosh, there's just so much that's gone on through that week. So I really wanted to capture this moment, and so I invited you to come on, and I just thought, bless you, I was like, do you fancy doing a live? Because I just thought it's so important to capture these moments, because when you go back and trying to explain to somebody, because like you said yesterday, gosh, I feel like I've known you for years. And it's kind of like, that's the thing. So without taking that for granted, I thought, no, because when we start talking, people are going to think they've known each other for years, them two. We've known each other for 72 hours,
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, but it shows that we're more alike than different. And that is, we live in a world, the way it was done previously, separation, division. But really, when you look at it, and you, from the inside out, you understand that we all cry, we all have a story, we all bleed red blood. When you start just opening your mind and your heart to something grander and something greater, there is a purpose behind all of this. And but you got to be willing, to tell your story. You got to be willing, and I battle with that, like, oh my God, because this is the stuff that we swept under the rug. This is the stuff secretly that's shaming, that's keeping us stuck in shame, fear, and guilt. But it's because we're not willing to tell our story. When you tell your story, you not only break free, but you set the lineage free. And just imagine, every color, every culture, every race, every religion, like, when we start breaking those boundaries, that's a free world. And that's what we're meant to be, free.
Absolutely. And that, I mean, when you, like you said, in the moments when all this, I know for me, those whole dark nights of the soul, and I think for myself, I've always felt that, I have to just keep on going. I've got to keep on going. That vision of Ireland has always been there. It's like that. Thank goodness that was planted so early. I know now why it was planted early, because if that was not planted, I probably would have given up a long time ago. But for me, that vision was like, okay, I can see that. Yeah. And it's really funny, because I knew when I came over to the Northeast, and you'll know this, as a Black woman, it's great talking to you, thinking about this. But in this vision that I had in the 90s, I was kind of like, hold on a minute, that's me, because I could see myself, tiny, tiny, tiny little dot. I was kind of like, hold on, I thought, hold on, what did you do to your hair?
I would say I'm the golden child. I'm the golden child. I'm the golden child that's here to make a difference. I don't, I'm just, surrounded by every culture, all these different, and in a male-dominated industry. Now, you can imagine, as a Black woman, it is like, I thought I had to, you got to fight, you got to be strong, you got to keep going. And I never, but that's where, why I feel that I think my dark night of the soul was so intense, is because I never stopped. And out there, a lot of loss, a lot of, you don't think about how much you take it for granted, when you work with somebody that long and you're connected in that way, like what grief and loss will do to us as a human, but I never stopped. And I kept, even after all of the loss, I kept going until my body, my mind, I just shut down.
And that's what happens, isn't it?
That's what happened. Forget the money, forget everything. And, even losing, some of my friends and family on the journey, because they're like, oh my God, why did you quit the good job? Why did you quit your job? Why are you doing this to yourself? But not understanding, I was dying on the inside, and I had to go and heal the inside. I knew I wasn't afraid of starting over, because I had already, worked my way. So I knew how to work my way back to do it. But I needed to go and take time to deal, heal, and break through. As an, now I know, as an inspiration to others, that come on out, tell your story. The sensitive, because the sensitive souls out there, they're afraid.
And that's it, and they're struggling so much. And that's the thing. It's kind of like it's like the sensitive souls that have never fit in. but they're on their own, because it's kind of like, well, where do I belong? And that sense of
Yep.
belonging is just not there. And it's like you've just said, it's like the whole thing around, you have to break down to break through.
Yep.
Simple as, you have to break down to it. It's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. Because it's important to remember that it's the journey. Part of the journey is about things don't run smooth. This life is not about things running smooth. It's like if people are living in I mean, I was in my marriage, and then I was in the same home for 26 years. And whilst I was doing this work, I wasn't fully doing this work because I needed to be out into the world. I needed to be out in the world. And even though I was on the internet, I needed more experience, which is like hard to believe. But when we need more experiences to stretch ourselves, as much as we might think, oh my gosh, I can't do that anymore. It's like, actually, and like you said, working hard, that is, and I know it's the killer anyway, but when your lineage is so used to working so hard, that when you turn that in on itself, you kind of like, do you know what, I'm used to working hard. That is a sickness. That's a sickness.
Yes, you work yourself to death. That's essentially what. And that was for me when I opened my eyes and I finally realized that and I saw that everybody around me that had passed, my dad and my grandmother, my friend, my coworker. I saw so many beautiful souls that basically had lived their whole life, working and chasing, and we're going through.
Oh, you've gone mute. Hold on, let's unmute you. Oh, there, you're back. You're back.
Yeah, Michael. Hold on. No, what happened?
Hold on, I'll just mute. I'll
can you hear me?
So we just had a bit of a blip with regards to the battery, but that's brilliant. So, but we're back. So there's just a change of environment. No sunny Florida now.
Yeah, inside.
And so when we were talking, and so when we were talking, and I was saying about this process, because one of the goals is to reach 1 billion heartbeats, and you mentioned about 1 million before, and this process is a kind of, it's not heard of. It's not heard of, and so it's been a process that even I've had to learn to not go digging for people, because I mean, at the end of the day, when you're digging for people, they're done. You know what I mean? It's like actually thinking about it. Just digging is not where it's at. It's kind of actually, I'm looking for people that are rising, people that are wanting to reach for the sun, as opposed to those that have gone before. But I've been really digging really deep and making it, because of the hard work, because of that hard work mentality, the hard work ethos that we've all done. I've been doing the extra. So now it's like, hold on a minute, I have to do this really easily, and it easily.
Yeah, lean back. Lean back and let it flow. It's kind of, I mean, that's the key. The key is learning how to lean back. Learning how to, because we're accustomed, we're conditioned. We're conditioned to.
It's a program.
Hard work. And
totally programmed.
But energy, totally programmed. Yeah. But energy is so real. You just have to be the example, and that's the way I just try to just be the example. Be the example of love bombs, and so lighten the way. And as you light the way, others will feel liberated to follow.
And that's exactly, and that's what I've been doing. So one of the things that, interestingly enough, with the marketing company that I was involved in, Jay had said to me, the founder, I needed to go and speak to him directly, because I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm in the right place. But it's really interesting, because I would always join other people's programs. And it was beyond learning, because it was kind of like, okay, how can I learn to then adapt what I'm doing to, so how can I learn? So then I would be addicted to learning in order to be able to put in to put a structure in, because one of the things that this structure is, it's never been done before that I know of anyway. I don't know anybody who's got tools that are actually to impact the world, in the sense of, you can have once you've gone through this process, you're then qualified. And that's the hard thing. It's not like I'm coming to teach you something, because I'm not teaching you anything. You know, so when we're teaching, it's kind of like, so even the word teacher is a hard label to use, because I'm not teaching you anything. All I'm doing is holding space for you to be. And I don't know
And share your
anybody.
story.
And that's the thing. So as you're sharing your story, you're just being, and you're releasing the filters. And then once you're able to do that, you're able to teach somebody else to do that. You're able, because you're holding that space. So I don't know anything where you're able just to be yourself, and that is all that you need. There's nothing that you're going to get here. There's no feeding of the head here. It's all feeding of the heart. And then naturally, you're getting rewarded because you're naturally wanting to assist somebody else. It's not a job, it's not a business, but yet we've had to put it into those boxes for people to kind of understand it, you know? So this terminology that I'm using is a spiritual franchise. And the spiritual franchise, I've had the paperwork for over 6 years. So 2013 was when I kind of like worked it out that this is a spiritual franchise, but I wasn't sure about the word spiritual. I was like, oh, that's not a word that I really want to use, because I don't want any connotations of religion and separation. So we've had to use words that I wouldn't really want to use, because I'm just like, you know what? We're just all energy, you know? So it's been a real battle to kind of like fit into this box, and at the same time fighting. And that's what I've had to let go of, is the resistance of using terminologies, because I've had to try and bridge the language in the hope that people see that actually this woman's holding my hand, and she's leading me to a place where I can just be myself. You know, because some people have said, is it a cult, or is it a, you know, because people always want to put some label on it, you know what I mean? And I was just
Yeah,
like,
but we need labels. You know, that's the thing. Well, we don't need labels, but we use labels to, you know, as a form of explaining it, because
yeah,
that's the way the human brain use language. We
yeah,
need metaphors and stories to make
yeah,
meaning of it, because that's
yeah.
the way our brains operate. But yet, trying to not still be in a box.
Exactly. So that's been the challenge. And so I've known that it's a bridge of transition. And I've known that it's about, actually, if we all cross that bridge of transition, we're resetting. We're resetting how we are in our world. So we've gone from doing, you know, whilst you're busy doing, how's your being? Our being has always been there, but it's just been so neglected. So the tree analogy for me is that, you know, we're born, it's that seed planted, and we were born, and we start growing. And it's kind of like the roots never really get looked at. It's kind of like we're growing, 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 and we're making decisions on a whim. So we're on the branch and we're making decisions when we need to get back to our core. And it's only when we start going through the book process in many ways that people start seeing, oh my gosh, actually, that's where my values are. That's where actually that's really important. That's what's really important to me, because nobody really ever questions it. So we're really developing this root of who we are that completely is this, you know, this network of just roots that are just connected to so many different people. And it's really obvious, and it's fantastic, you know, because there's a real coming together of roots just connecting everywhere. And I remember when we first started the process online, and that's the thing that I don't even realize the power of this. I know that I don't realize what this is going to be. I've not visualized how this is going to be when it's up and running, and it's just happening, and each of us are just leading this process and leading people through and enhancing ourselves to become our true selves, because I know that this isn't me. These are just tools that are just going to help to create the playing field, the bridge to create the playing field. And once the playing field's there, then I feel as though my truth will be revealed with regards to what am I here to do, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Who am I? Why am I here? Why did I come
yeah,
to this strange place?
absolutely, because and so I think the just having this conversation with you over the past, 24 hours, it's just been, it's interesting because I'm observing it, because it's rare. It's a rare conversation. And at the same time, I know that this is how people that are like us, there's many people that are like us. And obviously this is like call out to say, come on, it's time, you're ready. There isn't any I just have to do this, or I'll do it tomorrow. It's like, now is the time. It's like, if people are watching this now, this is your call. This is your wake up call. And it's
because we're so busy, you know, thinking that, oh, I'm living my best life. I'm living, you know, we're so, you know, society, I'm living my best life. Okay, I've lived my best life. Now I'm trying to live my best me. You know, where's the best you? You know, that is the, you know, that your best you is that peace, you know, and once you get to that point of that peace, nothing, you know, nothing is more valuable than that. You know, the money, but all that is a byproduct of finding that sweet spot of peace.
Exactly. And that was one of the things that I felt that, and I had to kind of like come back from it, from always working with caring for people. I would always want for people, want the best, want the best, to be the best in order to be able to help people. And then I had to let go of it, because I thought, you know what? I can only be the best for me.
Yep.
That is it. I can only be the best for me, because it's like, actually, who am I to place my desires, my hopes, my dreams on anybody else? It's not possible. So now it really is just about stepping up every day, stepping up every day, and just getting a structure together that embraces people. The dream that I had was about setting up a retreat, but it's really funny because the feeling that I had was of peace. It was of just absolute bliss. And I remember the children were playing, the parents were relaxing, and I was kind of like, am I meant to do this? But is this in this lifetime? Because my life was not like that at the time. And once you accept, I'm ready, I'll do it, then things start aligning that will just take you out of situations. And the thing for me is knowing that from a young age. From a young age, I was protected, and I'm still protected to this day, of situations that nobody should ever even have to think about, you know. And that for me is that, that there's that higher self that we've left when we come into this body. We've left that higher self up there to protect us and to look over us. So there isn't anything to fear apart from fear itself, as they say. Really,
no,
there's nothing. We're here to experience. It's just get on with it, you know. That's how it feels. So I'm so excited about going through this process with you and seeing what unravels, but also knowing that just the joy that it's going to bring, but also just everything. It's like, I mean, I've done this so many times, but it's like every person is like the first time, every single time, the first person. It's like you're the first person, because you're unique. It's you. You know, you're not like anybody else. Nobody's like anybody. You know, so it's like kind of like, right, how are these tools going to adapt to you to be able to help you to become your best you? So it's along the journey. It's like, okay, there's some tools there. See how they work for you. So that hand-holding process is kind of like, how can these tools enhance you to be the best that you can possibly be in this world, to contribute towards that? You know, that's the tools. So I'm excited for you because I know you. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's going to be fantastic.
Play. We get to play. You know, that's the beauty of it. You know,
absolutely,
it's an adventure. And when you get to that point of learning how to enjoy it, and all the noise, you know, everything that's going, you know, just that whole, you know, we're not victims. We're victors. We're not victims. I mean, it doesn't, not to discredit our story and the things that the hardship and the pain and the wounds and the things that we've all had to endure, you know, but that was part of it. That was the plan. It was for you to pop through all of that, you know.
Exactly.
So, you know, I'm excited. I'm excited about my next chapter. You know, my birthday's in a couple of weeks, so you know, my new year. You know, I'm excited.
It's going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to just the whole journey. So we've naturally, I think, come to an end for this conversation. It's not going to be the last conversation that we're going to do is the film. We are going to work out how to do a Facebook Live, because I think that's something that as leaders we should be doing. But yeah, this is very much about a leadership. This is about empowering leaders, empowering people that are ready to step up, empowering those people that don't even believe that they're leaders. That's what this process is about. So reach out to either myself or you. So if people needed to reach out to you, where would they need to reach out to you?
I'm on Facebook, Sharika Hurd.
Yeah, Sharika Hurd. So if you're able to reach out to Sharika, find out more information. I'm going to download this so we can both put it on our Facebooks and on our YouTubes as well. So just just using technology as we do. But the process that's going to happen is that we've got a mini empowerment toolkit. I forgot all about this. So this is what I do, you know. So the mini empowerment toolkit is the empowerment, and what you're going to experience with that is an opportunity to really develop an action plan, to personalize your action plan with regards to moving forward in your life in the areas of health, money, personal development, hopes and dreams. And so I have the game here. I play the game while you play the game. Both play the game on Zoom, and you've got the card. So you order the card, and it's free. So all we ask is for postage and packaging. And when it arrives, you then book an appointment so that we can sit down and play just on Zoom like this. And that's how we're doing it at the moment, because it's a tool that it's not to sit on shelves, but people can experience it. But basically, it's like experiencing it before they buy it, but it isn't actually for sale. It's only available to facilitators, so people that are going through this process. This is like the manual for the game. So the book process takes you through these issues of time, money, health, personal development, hopes and dreams, legacy, contribution. And it helps you to dive in a little bit deeper so that when you are facilitating the game, it just makes it easier, because many people, we've never been taught about money as an example. We've never been taught about money. And yet, when people come along, when I play the game with people, I say to people things like, what's passive income? People know what passive income is now more than ever before, but I've been asking this question for 10 years. You know, so it's been a long time of developing these and asking questions that were kind of like, hey, what's that? So what the book does, it helps us just to release those filters around things like, you know, our parents would have said money doesn't grow on trees, you know, all those different kind of terminologies around money. I've not got enough, I've not got it, you know. And when you look at the world right now, the biggest sickness in the world is an empty wallet. If we can help to fill people's wallets, we're going to change our world. And so these tools help people to generate an income. But in order to generate an income, they need to understand themselves. So they need to understand the story. They need to understand it's not the grandma, it's not the mother, it's not the caregiver, it's not the siblings that are telling the message, it's them. They have to own the message. And so by going through the book process, they're decluttering the spirit. And then they're able to then just utilize these tools as see fit. And because the tools have always been created to be inclusive of everybody and not to block people when it comes to, I can't afford it. No. What we say to people is, look, do you want to play the game? Right, let's work out how we can make it happen. That's it. You know, but at the same time, it's not about undervaluing, because these are really powerful tools. So they are very much about how do we get you back into alignment. And that's not just Anthony Fenton. Anthony Fenton can't handle the amount of people that are going to be coming through this process, which is why it is to gift it to those that are ready to put the energy in to make it happen. So it really is about giving people a chance to earn a living and making it work and working it out. So that's where we're at. So it is about developing a spiritual franchise. I'm so excited. And you know, the franchise is called I Am. That's a franchise. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it dawned on me as I was talking. That's what I'm saying. When each individual person comes on board, they bring a gift. And you brought a gift yesterday, because I thought, my goodness, of course, it's I Am. It's the I Am spiritual franchise. And I Am has been around. I woke up maybe over 12 months ago now, and I just thought, we've got to do a video of I Am. And people are like, what do you mean, I am? And everybody just did it. So the Tell Your Story people, they all recorded. So we've got this collection of videos of people, which is just wonderful. I am, I am, I am. And that was it. And you'll see, because I'm going to put that on the website when I can just do a few technical things. But that's it. It's kind of like we're creating the I Am. Incredible, really raising that as awareness. So it's the I Am spiritual franchise. But like I said, that's how spirit works through. That's just how they do, you know, which is, as you know, it's just incredible. So thank you so much for joining me today, Sharika. I really, really appreciate that. I'm like I said, I'm so excited I could burst, but at the same time, it feels like a different excitement. It's like, I don't know, you know, like sometimes you can be excited like a child and think, oh, and it's like an out of control. This feels a really controlled excitement. It's just kind of like,
well, because it was authentic. We didn't plan it. We connected in another community, and and ended up having a conversation 48 hours later, and here we are. But that's when you get in the flow.
Absolutely.
When you get in the flow and you, like you said, you're not working hard, you're in the flow. And you trust fantastic. That what you need will show up when you need it.
Yeah, very much so. And that, I think that whole thing of, I knew for myself, I was thinking, somebody said to me, why did you call it, because I've been talking about Empowering Angels 101. And that's what I actually needed to say as well. I always forget, but no, I don't forget, it's how it is. And somebody said, why 101, And I remember the Empowering Angels for me, I was called an Empowering Angel about 4 or 5 years ago. Like, you're like an empowering angel. And I thought, oh, that's quite nice. I'll use that terminology. But we're all empowering angels,
Yep.
So I thought, right, okay, so some people can take offense at that or what. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to use that as empowering angels. And I thought 101. And 101 is, because we're working underground, so we're keeping this visual and we're working with the roots. I just thought, if I'm nurturing seedlings, or we are nurturing seedlings to reach their full potential, then 101 of a groundswell would be enough to protect the tools, because the tools need protecting from people. Not that I want to label anything on it. The protection is that we've created a groundswell. So it means that we've got 101 seedlings out there, and that energy of that will help it to continue to blossom.
Well, and that's exactly. Yeah. Well, that's how I feel with my whole branding of like the Shine Time TV is empowering humanity to understand we all have that light within. You just got to tap in to find your shine. If you can tap in to find your own shine, then you're not in competition with anybody, because we all have it. We're all angels here. We all have that inner light.
Absolutely.
We just got to tap into it. We've just forgotten.
Exactly.
And what you and I are here to do is to help others hold their hand to realize that you're safe, and let me help you, find your own inner light.
Absolutely. And that's the bit, because it's like, even now with that conversation just there, and the email that just popped up, really interesting, because that was Anthony Robbins. And it was Anthony Robbins that inspired me, because he was on stage as this individual inspiring 10,000 people. And I was kind of like, hold on a minute, what if we could have something that could inspire, that 10,000 people could use? Because once you've seen a coach, or once you're a coach, it's like you can't inspire everybody to be a coach, because that's not what this is about. It's like, how can you inspire people to be the best that they can be? I want tools to be able to do that, and that's what I got, because I asked for it, because I thought, there's not going to be 10,000 coaches, but if you can just, that spark of divinity, if we can help to ignite that in each person, then we start creating a world that's like, oh my gosh, that's worth coming down to be part of. When people are making the decision, am I coming here? It's like, actually, I'm coming back. And that's it. For me, it's about leaving the world a better place than when we came. And I just think, I know that I've done that. If I had to take my last breath tomorrow or today, I know that that's what I've done. Because I remember, actually, funnily enough, when I was on the hospital bed, when I was having my operation, and I was thinking, am I meant to live or not? Because if I'm meant to go, do you know what I mean? Just take me. I don't mind because I'm going back home. But I remember saying, look, I'm not being funny, because this is how I speak to my spirits. They must think she's a joker. But I just said, I'm not being funny. But if I wake up, you are going to have to make sure that I get clarity, that I get what I want every person to be smiling from their inner core. That's what I want. It's like, don't be bringing me back here if that's not going to be the case, because I thought that that's what I was here for. So it's like, please just give me clarity. And that's when I got the connector of who we were both in that community. That's when I got the cards. So it's after I woke up after the operation. I think it was about 3 days. I thought, that's it. And it's the cards of clarity that I was given. So
beautiful,
incredible, absolutely incredible. So we just have to ask many times. That's what we have to do, isn't it? Many of us aren't used to asking. We're so used to this is just, people are just sending messages. That's another person from the community. And that's the thing, it's just asking for people to help, asking for people to signpost, just asking. And once we do that and raise our voice to do that, then everything else is just left to happen, isn't it? The magic begins.
It happens organically. I mean, who
Yeah.
would have thought? I mean, in the community, I mean, I'm in that community every week, you know, and you were in that community, but, you know, and we just connected. And
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
happens once you ask, and if you start living for something greater and grander than just yourself, you care about empowering others, you care about,
Yeah.
you know, helping others to find their shine and find their inner light. You don't have to, the working hard, you just have to be
Be.
the doing, you know, I you know, just be love and wait for you.
Yeah, totally, totally. And I think when you'll see with the chapters, one of the second chapter of the book is in the meantime, whilst you're busy doing, how's you being? And that's one that often throws people because they're kind of like, hey, I've not even thought about that before. You know, which is brilliant. And then when we all sit down and talk and we share the chapters, it's fantastic the different angles that people come from. But yeah, that whole place of being is where we're striving for. So it doesn't make, I mean, it's so interesting, isn't it, that here we both are, both very similar situations. It's incredible, really. Absolutely incredible. And it's kind of like we're talking with such zest and inspiration that it's remarkable, isn't it? That the least that you have externally, internally, is where the you know, the bounty of abundance lay.
Yeah, it's an inside job. I mean, you know, strangely, and I know people like, oh my God, this girl is crazy. Like, I wasn't worried about that aspect. I just knew that if I could, you know, heal, you know, and break through, like that part, I wasn't worried about that because I knew that I had already done that before. I had, you know, if I was, you know, working hard, I just learned how to work smart, you know,
Yes.
and working smart is working through the hard.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's interesting, and it's so true, because I think the I know that I'd asked for the shortcut to success, because I was like, right, give me the shortcut to success, because I will do what I need to do to empower people to do that.
Yep.
So the work that's been put in is to make it easier for people, without a doubt. And luckily I've enjoyed that, but I know that now it's like, do you know what? Now let's reap the rewards of this. Because to reap the rewards is to see happy people, is to feel happy people. That's what I need now, you know. And so I think when I was doing the internet, when I was doing the work on the computer, I know somebody said to me, why don't you just go and get a job? Do you know, it's kind of like, and you know, because obviously you have to weigh it up, don't you? You have to think, well, do you know what? Actually, maybe they've got a point. Maybe they've got a point, you know, so let me consider it so that I'm not just throwing it out there. Because it might be that I'm meant to be in an environment where there's people, but I know that I become sick. I become ill because I'm taking on the energies of people. So I can't
Yep.
work in the traditional way. You know, it just doesn't. It's like when you're empathic, you can't do that. Your body becomes sick. The amount of times I went to a Buddhist retreat, for goodness sake, for 3 months and ended up with diabetes. You know, I went to volunteer at a Buddhist retreat and ended up ill. Ended up ill. My body was breaking out and everything. It was horrendous. And I think my cousin was saying to me, well, you know, when you go in those places, you know, from a religious point of view. And I was like, no, I just went in with a good heart to be in a place where it's okay to be. It was just horrendous because energetically it needed spring cleaning, and I was taking it
Yep.
all on board. And
Yep.
so it's not a case of just going out there and getting a job. It's like, actually, it would kill me to get a
Well,
job.
that's what the sensitive souls do. You know, we come energetically, and as sensitive souls, we clean. You know,
Yeah,
we didn't know that. We didn't have that way to label it, I guess you per se. You
yeah,
know, growing up, but basically, that's what the sensitive souls do. We're able to take that energy, transmute it, and a lot of times that's why our bodies break down and we get
yeah,
sick. It's
yeah,
because, you know, I didn't realize the same thing. You know,
yeah,
23 years in trucking, I was getting sick because taking on so much responsibility,
yeah,
taking on everybody's stuff, it was breaking my body. You know, it was breaking my body down. I mean, I was like, okay, why am I can't get my blood pressure down. My cycle, you know, coming on twice in a week. Like, what is going? But my body was breaking. That, you know, your body is your best
Oh,
detector.
it
You know,
really is.
you know, but if you're not listening, I wasn't listening to my body, but I just
Yeah.
kept, you know, of course, you know, work hard, overachiever, you know, you can't let everybody down. And that was
Yeah.
the hardest part for me, because I didn't, you know, I knew what was going on, being aware, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to let anybody down. But I was
Yeah.
killing myself in the process of not
Yeah.
letting others down.
And that was the thing, because for me, it's like if there's just one person who is able to find the alternative way. This is the alternative way. And it's a way that creates that balance in all areas. So this is the school that people should have been going to. That this is it. And it's these are, you know, the founders are, there's a whole load of us. There's lots of us. And that's the bit that I'm really looking forward to, actually. And honestly, you've inspired me, because I knew that the horizon was there, but because I've been just so busy trying to put things together, and luckily, I mean, my host here, Catherine, has been absolutely a star to allow me the space to have been able to do this last bit of putting it together, because it's been together on the offline, but it's the online that's been the challenge. And now it's kind of just putting the website stuff together and just making it all automation, or a lot of it automation, so that we, you know, the things that need to be dealt with online are just dealt with, and then our connection with people. Because I think that was over the last few, like I said, over the past few weeks, I thought, oh my gosh, I've done my website, but I'm doing it again. But anyway, that's another story. But I just thought, I'm able to breathe. I'm just able to breathe, knowing that that's taking care of itself, that I just need to put that link out there and people can go, and then they can serve themselves up until there's a point where it's like, okay, then I can come in. But to know that we can bring the people through the flow of it, that was really, I just thought, wow, this is what automation means when it's online, you know, so that people can just, because of storytelling, I just thought, okay, I'll create it as a course. Well, not it is a course, but put it as a course online, so people can actually have the choice to go through writing the whole of the book and then come online, book online, to tell their story. So we're not having, because I'd be online just for one person, but I'm thinking, hold on a minute, but the team wouldn't want to do that. You know, so it's like being in my own shoes and then stepping into others. And that's what I've been doing. And that's what's taken a long time. And you need a lot of space to be able to do that. So it's taken all that headache away from people having to do that. So there will be training for leaders that want to access that. But to start off with, it's like, do you know what? Just come and share your story. And as you're
Yep.
doing that and you're growing, then you'll learn those skills. But you'll learn those skills to add them to what you're already doing. And that's the other thing, to be able to enhance people with what they're already doing. Oh my gosh, I used to love doing business development, because I've got a really simple plan of helping people to do that as well. That fires me up. But I think I was helping people in businesses that were still stuck in the 3D. Whereas
Yeah.
do it at this side of going through that process and then helping people to create in the new energy. Oh
On a
my.
5D level, a 5D and above, that's
It's
a
going to
whole
be
nother level.
absolutely. It's going to be amazing. And you know, the young people are the ones that are coming through with those ideas that are just like, wow. But again, having the funds to be able to fund those kinds of things and those kinds of projects to really uplift people. That's what all this is about. It's getting all that groundwork stuff done, so that then people can flourish and blossom with the, you know, with the new energies, with the new way of being, knowing that it's okay to feel, it's okay to have that
Yeah.
emotional intelligence, you know. So yeah, and it's okay to be sensitive, and actually it's your sensitivity that's going to save you in this world. That's the bottom line, isn't it? Because without it, there's a lot of people that are struggling in the chaos and everything else, because everybody's fighting, and it's like, no, we're in the blue ocean, not the red ocean. You know,
We're on the love train.
we're on the love train.
We're on the love
Absolutely,
train.
absolutely. So thank you so much, Sharika. It's honestly, it's
Thank
absolutely
you.
wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and we will keep the conversation going. So yeah, thank you so much, and see you soon.
See you soon. Blessings.
Yeah, blessings to you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.